we met this doctor who ran like a free clinic. He wanted us to get this really rare medication, and the only people that had them are this company called Doc Wagon. We get like badges and uniforms and all this nonsense and make ourselves actual employees of the Doc Wagon Hospital, which, by the way, is a walled fortress. And right as we're about to break in, the sirens go off. And we're like, oh God, did we screw something up? What happened is the local prison was transferring prisoners that had got into a fight for medical treatment. The prisoners start yet another riot, which manages to cover our escape, stealing an ambulance and driving right out the front door. And it's just like, I can't believe that worked.
Basically, the gnome hears you and says, "Get him!" And let's roll initiative.
I am a dice whore. I had to custom build a dice case because the dice bag got too small. Most RPGs use dice to generate random numbers, and you're trying to beat a number, or you're trying to generate successes, and you're trying to, to have X number of successes in order to perform Y action.
You have to have, there's chance and randomness and all that to it, so you have to figure out some way of, determining how that happens. Usually that's just as simple as rolling a die. 11, and if he was still alive, I'd get to push him around.
Yes, you crush him like a damn bug.
Most RPGs, are about conflict resolution when you get really down to the nitty-gritty of it. You've got a situation, you have to resolve it. 22 radiant damage, and he's vulnerable 5 to the rest of my attacks.
I got bad news for you. You can kick the body around a little bit if you want.
He's dead.
Oh, good Lord, yes. He only had 7 hit points left when you dropped that bomb of God on him.
So they put me up against this big, razor golem thing with, spinning blades and all this sort of stuff, and it pretty much tore me to shreds, but due to a magical ring that I had, I was capable of healing myself through the damage, and eventually absolutely tore it to shreds.
You are as cool as you can manage to be. You're whoever you want to be. The trouble in that, I think, comes when people get too far into that part of role-playing, and they just sort of lose touch with the rest of reality.
I think it's a wonderful release. It allows people to escape from their problems very well. They get to go be this powerful character, do things that they can't do in real life.
I mean, some people get a real sense of power out of running a game because, you've created the world, you're God. That's not what it's about for me.
Like in D&D, I'm playing an elf rogue, right? It's cool. I get to be cool. But, when the game's over, I'm still Tim Bruning, average guy living in Independence, Missouri.
Remember we went wandering through the woods and we found the waterfall?
Oh yeah, and then we found the nymph.
The nymph, which I smooth talked my way into getting some water from so we could try to reactivate the puddle.
And then she gave us the map, too.
And gave us the map, so then we could figure out where the hell we were going. It's no good to game master a game that just does what you want it to do, because you don't have a game without players.
You're generally going to have 4 or 5 players that are working together.
Originally, Wally introduced me to Nick. Nick introduced me to Tim, and that all kind of grew from there.
In all groups, you'll either have a pretty decent cohesiveness, or it'll just be sporadic all the time.
I really think people that play role-playing games, at least, if they put some thought into it, can actually learn about teamwork.
As long as you've got a few friends who are willing to come over and pretend to be orcs and elves and dwarves and things, you've got a game.
I'm Tim Bruning.
I'm Brady Forston.
My name is Ben.
My name is Wallace Blystone.
My name's Dustin.
And I've been role-playing for about 12 years now.
26 years.
Since 2001.
6 years now?
About 7 years.
It just looked awkward.
There are a lot of...
I never paid that much attention to it.
There are a lot of things that are awkward, but make sense if you know why they're there.
All right, both of you can explain this. Explain to me gamers and food and snacking. Just talk about it.
Well, it's simple. Games last a long time. People get hungry. And if you're
These look like hands. They're not. These are basically hams on the end of sticks.
Finally, by the end, I find Merlin's tower, at which point the gnome's like, I'm gonna go home. And I'm like, oh, no, you're not. And I pick him up and just drop kick him off the mountain. I'm like, I am done with this shit.